So good morning, everyone. So I'm Simon Osborne. I'm the Technical Director of Control 2K. I was thinking I was going to have to make up about half an hour in a 10-minute presentation, so I wasn't sure quite how to do that. So I'm going to be talking about the impact of EU research on us as a company and the way we've interpreted it in terms of turning it into products that our customers can use. So some of the projects that we've been involved with over the last 10 years are listed there, so I won't go into detail, but I mean, FlexiNet was to do with dynamic supply chains, so it was looking at the possibility that you can adjust your supply chain and assess its risk if one of your partners experiences a problem. Adventure was to do with orchestrating manufacturing from within the clouds. That was the first time we really looked at, could you control production literally from a cloud-based platform. Fitman was using a platform called Fireware, which wasn't specific to Fitman. It's a European platform that perhaps many of you don't know about for producing smart applications. So it was looking at that in a manufacturing context. And the last two, Crema and Digicore, we're participating at the moment. Crema is elastic manufacturing, and many of my colleagues are within that project. And Digicore, again, some of our colleagues are here, is to do with collaborative networks across supply chains. So from our own viewpoint, how do we interpret this? Well, firstly, SMEs are interested in what products can do for them. They're not interested in the technology aspect of it. They're interested in the problems that actually get solved with that technology. Also, that research should be driven by the end users, rather than the blue sky thinking of, well, let's just put everything on the cloud. It should be you should listen to the end users, find out what their problems are, and then drive the research around that. Results should be understood by the market. So the EU is particularly interested now in exploitable outcomes. So if the market doesn't understand what you've produced, how can you turn that into a real product? And our particular side of things is to showcase and demonstrate, and you'll see that a bit later on in the practical demonstration of the technology that we've gained from the EU projects. And ultimately, on a selfish level, to strengthen and improve our products. So a little bit about Digicore there. It's about focusing on the digital twin of manufacturing, about capturing data and then reflecting that up in the cloud. We have a tool store, so you can basically buy things like productivity things which are going to help companies work as a supply chain, almost in an e-commerce fashion. And where that data is coming from ultimately is factory connectors. So in our particular case, it's industry web. So we're tapping into the shop floor systems and passing that up into the platform. So from Crema, we're coming up to the end of that project now. So some of the demos you'll see this afternoon in the other room and also out on the shop floor. It's ultimately about elastic manufacturing. So can you, for example, if a machine becomes unavailable, can you quickly swap that machine out with something available on the marketplace? So the idea, if you have a welding robot, that welding robot experiences a problem, you browse the marketplace and you select an alternative compliant robot that could satisfy production. Now, because the EU is particularly interested in these exploitable outcomes, we've put a lot of effort into looking at a spin-off for Crema. In this particular case, cream manufacture. They may be subject to change. And what we've tried to do is take those elements of Crema, which are less blue sky thinking, and package them in such a way that real companies would actually want them. So collaborative monitoring, data analytics, optimization, so looking at improving existing process designs, and tracking and tracing, which you'll see a live demo of. So from our side, our participation is all about strengthening our products. So IndustriWeb is in essence a shop floor glue. So our focus is down within the factory. So we stick together systems and we solve Industry 4 type problems. Some sort of outline costs, we've tried to make them something realistic that an SME could implement within their system. And for us, it's about smart data, not big data. So it's not just capturing as much data as you can, which data actually is going to improve your productivity. So the demo that you'll see out on the shop floor is in that little bubble there on the right. And we've looked at an example process, for example, a cosmetics process. L'Oreal was a customer of ours. So it's quite a good scenario for a wide range of process types and machines. So what you're going to see in the demos is the flow of the groups will go from the right to the left there. So the first demo that you'll see will be the work instruction and error proofing. So these are tools that would affect operators. So how do you prevent operators making mistakes? How do you inform them about the jobs they should do? Moving on then, we look at, we have a mixing process and a bottling rig. So we look at things that would affect the engineers. So how does an engineer know that a machine has failed in a timely manner? How do you, and when he gets to the machine, how do you educate him on how to solve the problem? And then finally, you'll see a bit, some of our kind of research work, which is our virtual factory. So Gash will be demonstrating a real VR environment, which the good thing about it is also available on phones and tablets, so it's all about accessibility and not hardware cost. And so you'll see some quite neat things there. So that's literally how it's applied. So you're tapping into all the systems wirelessly, all the control systems, everything. You're visualizing it via a web UI, so there's no software to install. Notifications via SMS, email, instant messaging, etc. And everything that is occurring, you're capturing that data and acting upon it. Okay, so yeah, a little bit about the work instruction system, which Chris will be demonstrating. It basically looks to replace paper-based documents. So whereas typically an operator will receive a laminated sheet, rather than that, we digitize it. And the important thing is you can deploy documents across the shop floor very readily. And the other thing is, should the machine change product type, the system detects the change of product type and makes the right document available to the right operator. So rather than picking up the wrong document, making a production mistake, which can be quite costly. Error proofing uses the system that Jessica talked about briefly, the Ubisense system, where we're looking to eliminate operator error by tracking production assets in the environment. So here you'll see fixtures being added to a machine. How do you know the operator has actually fitted the correct fixtures for the job at hand? So the system is monitoring this, and it will educate them, and it will also prevent them from running the machine when they've made a mistake. From the engineering side of things, the Andal system, it's not new technology this, but we've provided an Industry 4 spin to it. So we have the web interface, instant messaging, fault escalation, and also the ability for an engineer to say they're about to attend the error as well. So the operator knows the job is in hand. Now the knowledge base is again something we're gaining from Crema, which is looking at capturing that knowledge on how to fix machines against the fault in the PLC. So when a fault reoccurs, rather than it being something that Steve, the engineer, is very equipped to solve because he's done this many times, his colleague, when the fault occurs, will be able to see the lessons learned, taking you specifically to the page in the manual which will help you actually solve the problem. And then finally, the virtual factory, a bit of a screenshot there, but you'll see that live in action out on the shop floor. So, a bit of a whistle-stop tour, but in summary, for our side of things, it's about translating research into products. It's not just about conclusions or outcomes. What have you actually produced and what can you bring to market? Taking a real-world approach that recognises things like production demands and factors such as cost, the risk of going onto the cloud or using IT, and aspects of trust. Will your customer trust these systems? And finally, our importance to be able to demonstrate these. So shortly after the coffee break, we're going to wheel you around the shop floor and you'll be able to see these things in action. Okay?